Evening, everybody. Welcome to the Anacortes City Council meeting of April 28th, 2025. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mr. Franczak, will you take the roll, please?
Mr. Fantini.
Here.
Mr. Young.
Here.
Mr. Walters.
Here.
Ms. Cleland-McGrath.
Here.
Ms. Moulton.
Here.
Mr. McDougall.
Here.
Ms. Hubick.
Here.
Thank you.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, always start with announcements and committee reports. I've got a couple of announcements. First of all, I'd like to thank Parks Department, specifically Jamie, Steve, and Nicole for Friday on Arbor Day. We had a lovely tree planting of a beautiful Japanese maple along with the San Juan Montessori School. So thanks for helping us out getting that tree over by Altus Americas Park. Thank you for that. Guaymas Island Ferry haul out. Just got word from Skagit County that that work's going to be delayed. They're estimating at least a week and a half. Of the return date was April 30th, so you can expect at least a week and a half after that. But they're not putting out any specific date. More information can be found at skagitcounty.net/ferry. Skagit Transit Long Range Transit Plan is still open for public comment. Again, this provides a framework for enhancing and expanding transit over the next decade. We heard from the Skagit Transit CEO a couple weeks back, but you can still provide feedback on the online form at skagitransit.org or by email. And hard copies are available at Skagit Station. Public comments open through Wednesday, May 14th. More transportation news. Marine Transportation Pilot Program offering free daily passenger service between Anacortes and San Juan County. Pilot program will also offer emergency inter-island passenger service and emergency barge service. Pilot program is through June 30th, 2025. So you can find the links to the schedule and services at sanjuancountywa.gov. So this is leaving out of Cap Santa, going through Inter-Islands passenger-only ferry. And you have to sign up in advance, but check that out if you're interested. And then finally, 4th of July, float applications, Grand Marshal nominations still open online or at the Senior Center. And that's all I have. First committee report, Planning Committee.
Mayor Miller.
Ms. Moulton.
Thank you. The Planning Committee met today at 5, and it was staff and council members Cleland-McGrath, Walters, and myself. And we had a wide-ranging conversation that some of it was to do with planning and some of it was not. We talked about public comments. We didn't address any in particular, but just we were told by staff that public comment is starting to roll in more, and particularly regarding the climate element of the comprehensive plan. So those are all being posted on the city website, on the planning page, and so we'll all get to have a look at those here pretty soon. We also talked about battery storage facilities and what those could potentially look like in town. For example, for the Guaymas Ferry or the Washington State Ferry, different sizes and what that would even mean. But the possibility of electrical storage in the city and what that would look like and where it would be, and that's something that we'll be needing to address at some point not too far down the line. Other than that, that was pretty much it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Planning Committee? Okay, Fiber Committee.
Mayor Miller.
Mr. McDougall.
Fiber Committee had a short meeting last Wednesday. It was Ms. Shu and myself. We covered, first of all, the take rate numbers. As of last Wednesday, 2,667 customers in service, and an overall take rate across the community of just shy of 53%. And in fact, Guaymas View has overtaken the West End at 56% take rate. So West End at 54, so it's still close. We discussed the Department of Commerce, the EDA grant, I guess, construction region, and Summit X is about 75% of their work is complete. And the final sort of remaining 225K of the EDA reimbursement will be basically reimbursed to us when Summit X is 100% complete with their work. On April 1st, we welcomed a new network engineer to the fiber team, the fiber staff, Corby Stevens. Dawson Ulmer has been a terrific network engineer for the last year or two and is actually kind of remaining on sort of out on an ad hoc basis, helping with the transition. Looking through notes again, we expect another OLT to be installed, like basically very, very shortly in the operations yard, our third or fourth OLT unit. The OLT is the basically kind of fiber aggregator for service out to a region of like residences. So all the fiber in kind of the southwest part of town would then aggregate into that OLT unit, and then a single fiber from it back to the library. So it's a way of like kind of bundling together a whole bunch of customers or endpoints into a single point that then gets, it's kind of like a collector, I guess, if you will. So yeah, that one's going in on later this month, I think. And I think that's our last one as far as community coverage as well. So we are, I think, probably just shy of 4,000 signups as well across town. So another good number. I think that's about it.
Great. Any questions for the Fiber Committee? All right, Finance Committee.
Mayor Miller.
Ms. Cleland McGrath.
Thank you. We had our Finance Committee meeting on April 24th. It was Director Hoagland, Rhonda, and myself. So we spent a majority of the time kind of going over the most recent month's reports, revenue reports. Not a huge change from the presentation we received on Monday. So not anything really major to report there. The capital facilities plan, we're kicking off that again for this year. The initial meeting with directors was the same day on April 24th, with the goal of having kind of the preliminary plans to present to City Council at our retreat and have a discussion on June 12th. So that would be the list of all of our projects for the next 6 years. So that's in our preliminary stage. We talked a little bit, council has looked for or identified the need to increase sales tax. So there was a preliminary discussion of looking at our water utility tax for retail customers versus wholesale customers. And that's very preliminary, but will probably be a discussion at our retreat if that could generate an additional revenue source for addressing our needs. And then finally, we got an update on Tyler. So our ERP system that we've been using that's been Eden for the last number of years is sunsetting. I think most of you all remember for the last year, we had a consulting firm go through and vet a number of different options. Tyler has really come to the top. And so we're hammering out details regarding content management and retention, because Tyler, as the ERP, needs to also be able to interact with Laserfish and integrate. So they're just kind of hammering out some of those details, but it's all moving forward fairly well. And that is it.
All right, questions for Finance? Any other, Mr. Walters?
I just wanted to comment that previously when we talked about increasing sales tax revenue, I think we were referring to revenue generally, not the rate. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any other announcements or committee reports?
Mayor Miller,
Mr. Fantini.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the planning teams for this past weekend's Earth Day celebration. The Luminary Parade, the second one that we've had in Anacortes, was hugely attended, double attendance, I would say, from last year. And then it was a beautiful day on Sunday for the Earth Day celebration, where the procession of the species happened, and again, huge attendance, a lot of fun. Our folks from Public Works were out there representing the city and giving away those special little happy poos, as we call them, the squeezable ones. So just a really good city celebration.
Thank you. All right, move on to public comment. We did receive one written public comment. It was entered into the record in your packet. I don't have anybody signed up. Is there anybody here in City Hall that wishes to make public comment? Okay.
Linda Martin, Anacortes. I want to start by just saying thank you to all of you for the work that you do. Coming to these meetings, I recognize there's a lot of work, both here and behind the scenes. Having said that, I have two little requests for you. At the beginning of the year, by resolution, you approved a set of legislative priorities. And now that the legislative session is over, it would be nice as a member of the public to get some kind of a report on how did we do based on those legislative priorities. So that'd be the first request. Second request, since we're now moving into the election season, it would be helpful, maybe from the dais, but probably just as you're running for re-election and speaking to people, it would be helpful along those same lines to know, what did you personally do? Did you contact your legislators? Did you write letters? What did you do? And what did you accomplish? That would be the second thing. So thank you for your time.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Don't have anybody online. All right, we will move on to item 5, which is our consent agenda, items 5A through C. Council.
Mayor Miller,
Mr. McDougall.
I move approval of consent agenda items A through C.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McDougall, second by Mr. Young to approve the consent agenda items A through C. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On to item 6, other business. First up is 6A. This is a contract modification, wastewater treatment wastewater treatment plant, pump station 16 reconstruction. Design, this is a discussion with some possible action. Mr. Rayum.
Mayor, Council, good evening. Andy Rayum, Public Works Director. Before you is a contract modification with Wilson Engineering LLC in the amount of $181,712 to provide construction engineering support during the Pump Station 16 reconstruction. Wilson Engineering was the consultant contracted to design the pump station, which they delivered. Council approved a contract with Faber Construction to reconstruct the lift station. Due to the complexity and variety of expertise that is needed to reconstruct the lift station, it's recommended to have engineering support in construction in the likely event the construction contractor in the city will have changes or design questions that can only be addressed by Wilson Engineering and their sub-consultants.
Okay.
And the amount before you is a bit on the high end, but that's because we're not sure what they're going to need. I wouldn't expect to use that amount of money. That's just if all things fall apart, such as not being able to get parts.
Okay, questions for Mr. Rayum or about the contract? All right.
Mayor Miller?
Mr. Fantini.
If there's not any discussion, I move that the city council authorize the mayor to sign a modification with Wilson Engineering in the amount of $181,712, increasing the total contract price to $440,002.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Fantini, a second by Mr. Young to approve the contract modification as presented. Any additional discussion? Mr. Francie, I vote, please.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Walters,
Yes.
Ms. Cleland McGrath,
Yes.
Ms. Moulton,
Yes.
Mr. McDougall,
Yes.
Ms. Hubick,
Yes.
Mr. Fantini.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Thank you for providing all the background information. Next up is item 6B. It's Resolution 3181. This is personnel policy updates. This is a discussion item with possible action, and Ms. Moyle's here to present to us. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and members of the audience. Tonight, I'd like to present our 2025 personnel policy updates. Here. As a bit of a background, our personnel policies, also referred to as an employee manual, apply to all city employees, except where a collective bargaining agreement already addresses the topic. These policies were last updated in June 2023. While there have not been substantial legal changes, they were certainly due for a general review and update. Our review process includes the following steps. First, there was a human resources internal review where I make suggested changes to the document and include any suggestions that I've collected since the last review. After this, I send the document for a legal review by an employment attorney. We use Kristen Anger from Summit Law. We then opened the full red line document for a 2-week comment period for all city employees. Then we had a 1-week comment period that was open for union review. On April 4th, the Personnel Committee reviewed the updates, and as a final step, I'm bringing the updates to Council today. Included in the Council packet is a summary document including the substantial changes with explanations. I've also included a full red line of the policies. I've listed some of the highlights here. So we have formatting updates, clarifying language, and standardization across document. Adjustment of floating holiday being taken within the pay period to align with current practice. Revision made to security policy due to legislature passing RCW 4944-230. Allowing employees to possess property in their vehicle as long as permitted by law. Additions made to Washington paid sick leave based on state amendments that took effect in January 1, 2025, reverting city sick leave policy language to its 2021 version to distinguish it from Washington paid sick leave. Additional changes include adjustment to allow paid leave accruals to be considered supplemental to paid family medical leave, allowing employees to utilize their leave accruals without impacting their weekly PFML benefit from the state. Addition of clarifying language on non-exempt employees' meal breaks, including the addition of voluntary meal break waivers. Update to simplify the city's implementation of the Affordable Care Act measurement and administrative periods. And finally, addition of policy 905 permitting telecommuting arrangements for select positions within established parameters and subject to supervisor approval. With that, I am recommending that the Anacortes City Council adopt Resolution 3181, passing and approving the personnel policies and superseding Resolution 3120. Does anyone have any questions?
Okay, questions? I know Personnel Committee members have probably seen this a couple of times, but any questions from council?
Mayor Miller.
Ms. Hubick.
Thank you. Very thankful to see telecommuting included in the personnel manual. It seems to be something that has been shown to increase retention and keep staff obviously just employed longer. Is there any information that can be shared as to how 2 days working remotely was chosen versus 3 or any other number?
Sure. This was a discussion with all the
A
directors.
little closer to the mic.
Oh, sure. I said, sure, this is a discussion that we had with all the directors, including the mayor and everyone, of what would work best for their department. This is a relatively new policy for the city. We have had a handful of employees that have currently been working remote. It's been very successful, and they've been doing it at 2 days a week. We found that to work well, so we've decided to move forward with that in the policy. Depending on how things go, it potentially could be extended, but this is kind of where we're starting.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mayor Miller.
Mr. Young.
No, I just wanted to comment how we're in the midst of a lot of changing times. What we used to believe was effective isn't necessarily as effective as it is today, because I think at one point we weren't sure if many thought telecommunicating was less effective, but that's really not panned out to be the case. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it really does help with a bit of happiness and, sure, you know, just the ability that sometimes you can really dress from the waist up and look fabulous. And it, you know, saves you on transport time, getting prepared time. It's a wonderful policy for the city to have where applicable. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate that we baked it into this update. And so just wanted to thank you for that as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Saving on pants. Awesome. Okay. All right.
Mayor Miller,
Mr. Walters.
hesitant to follow that, but I think that each of the changes here are improvements over what we had before. I would like you to look further at policy 605. I think that the changes that you made are improvements over the existing text, but I don't know that we've fully complied with the statute. I think that people who park their cars in city parking lots are not subject to search, but the language of this text implies that they are subject to search with reasonable suspicion, but I don't think that that would be the standard under the statute. So maybe there's room for further improvement here, and we can have that further discussion. But again, the changes that are here are an improvement over what was there before. Same with telecommuting or remote work. I think there's probably room for additional improvement, sort of as the HR director alluded to. But again, what we have here is an improvement over what we had before. So I'm comfortable moving this forward at this point.
Yeah, thank you.
Mayor Miller.
Mr. McDougall.
I actually just had a really quick question on the telecommuting. I know in the past we've kind of been bursting at the seams as far as office space and staffing in City Hall. Has the telecommuting, the kind of interim policy, has it helped forestall, say, any kind of like, I guess, construction costs where we've had to, like, you know, essentially, I guess, build out new office space or carve up existing office space into tighter and tighter space? Or really has the staff kind of grown sort of with telecommuting such that we're in the same place we were, say, 3-4 years ago?
So I haven't seen a difference currently with our current employees that are doing this. However, the potential is absolutely there. There is, depending on the positions that are eligible that make sense and work, I could see the potential of saving space in that regard.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Mayor Miller.
Mr. Fantini.
Thank you, Director Moyle, for all the hard work going into this. One of the things that I appreciated about a lot of the changes that you made is it's not really us reinventing the wheel. It's more, it's more conforming to practices that we're already doing at the city, as well as changing state law and getting updated for that. Do you think that, I know we haven't done this since 2023, do you think that there'll be any kind of like yearly review going forward for state law changes, or do you have any thoughts about kind of like as we move forward, how you'd like to see that go?
Absolutely. The state already has the paid family medical leave. They already have updates that they're discussing. So it's very likely that we will be doing reviews on an annual basis moving forward.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mayor Miller.
Ms. Clellan McGrath.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you as one of the members of the Personnel Committee. This took a lot of work to get through it all. And while there were, I think, certain items that in the next year to 18 months to 2 years can do some further refinement, such as, I think the obvious one might be the remote work option, not only for retention, but also for recruitment. Sure. But that being said, there was a significant work that needed to be kind of set in stone. So I think that this was a really timely project and is a good level of accomplishment for now, and knowing that you're going to have to continue to review and update.
It's definitely work in progress. Yeah.
Yeah. So well done. I think this is a good update. With that being said, I move to adopt Resolution 3181, adopting the city's personnel policies.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Ms. Clellan McGrath, a second by Mr. Fantini to approve Resolution 3181. Any additional discussion?
Mayor Miller.
Mr. Walters?
You indicated that one of the steps in the review process for these edits was to get employee feedback. Can you summarize what that feedback was, if any?
Yeah, absolutely. So part of it, we did actually reach out to directors and employees beforehand. So that was where the scent policy came in with fragrance. That was something that an employee felt strongly that we wanted that.
By the way, kudos on that one.
Yeah. So that was absolutely feedback from employees. That was something that we heard and added into the policy. Other feedback was clarification, questions of what does this mean? I sat down with a couple employees that just wanted, how does this impact me? Is telecommuting an option for me? And that's why I said it's something that we'll discuss with the director and your supervisor and see how that works. Definitely a lot of excitement, enthusiasm around the telecommuting policy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, any additional discussion? Mr. Franciac, vote please.
Mr. Walters?
Yes.
Ms. Cleland McGrath?
Yes.
Ms. Moulton?
Yes.
Mr. McDougall?
Yes.
Ms. Hubick?
Yes.
Mr. Fantini?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. That's all for other business. Item 7A, this is executive session. I'd like to call the council into executive session for potential litigation per RCW 4230110. The time will be approximately 15 minutes, so time now is 6:26, and so that'll be, let's see, shouldn't do public math, that's such a bad idea. 41? All right, so we'll see you in 15. All right, the council has concluded its executive session and no action was taken, and at 6:41 p.m. And with no further business before the council, I will adjourn tonight's meeting. Have a good